So, hello everyone, and good afternoon to another skybow webinar. And today I'm very happy to talk about our latest product and some form topic, how you can bring your forms based on SharePoint, in our case, to the next level. And this webinar is, there is a Q&A section. You should have this Q&A box where you can ask questions, and just make sure the Q&A section is live, so there is no delay, but you will see the screen and the recording, the audio and everything will be in a 10 to 20 second delay. So just that you know, if we answer your question a little later, then it's because of this. So today with me is my colleague and our skybow CEO, Sebastian Schneider. He will be there for all your questions in the background and as well in the end for the Q&A section. And currently speaking and the presenter is me, Matthias Walter. I'm Chief Product Officer at skybow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to guide you through the following agenda. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the timeline of the form customizations that were there during the last couple of years. And then we go further to what are the common form requirements, what we see and we get in the last like 10 years, over 10 years. So what are common form requirements? Then I will give you a quick demo on our latest product, the skybow Modern Forms. And then we will see a comparison between two of our products. I will talk about how we can get started with those products, and at the very end, another comparison, but I will come back to those topics later, add-in versus Solution Studio. So the timeline to extend forms in SharePoint, there were several or different options. And if we talk about classic forms, which means on especially on server, 2010, 2013, 16, even 19, there's a classic mode, and then in online they came up with this modern new experience, what they call as well. So in the classic mode, of course, you were always able to use JavaScript using a script editor, web part, and just put in JavaScript on the form, because out of the box, there was no direct way or no integrated way to modify your forms. So you have all in one column, no business logic at all, and that was always, yeah, I was always wondering, there's no other option. Of course, then in 2003 already, there was the first version of this InfoPath. So already in SharePoint server or services 2003, there was an InfoPath version. And the latest version of InfoPath is the 2013, which is as well the last one. And that was always the way how to modify your forms. It was a product you install on your client, and then you were able to connect to your SharePoint site and modify the forms. This was quite powerful, and it was really a lot of people were using InfoPath forms, but it's already a legacy. Microsoft discontinued the support, not yet, but we will see it over here. End of support will be 2026. They always postponed it and postponed it again. It used to be earlier, but they saw that there are still quite a lot of customers using it, and it's not too easy to migrate away because there was no real alternative. So skybow, and those are the green boxes, we already had our first like form product back in June 2014. So almost in the beginning, where we were able to create add-ins. So where the app infrastructure came into SharePoint with 2013, we directly brought this product to the market. So it's already quite a long time, almost 6 years from now, and we still improve that product still today. And then in the online and modern world, the only way to do something on a form so far was to build your own SPFX solution. So again, custom code, but no direct JavaScript injection was possible anymore. And then like 2.5 years, or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Microsoft brought this Power Apps as I would not say replacement, but as an alternative to build business apps on SharePoint in a combination with Flow, of course. And skybow as well improved because the rich forms was only for a classic version. So we developed a new product which has the exact same or the same requirements in the background, and we developed that further on the modern UI. We'll come to the features later, and yeah, that's now really our brand new product, and we will see that in a demo right afterwards. So, but before we go to the demo, what were the form requirements that we've heard all the time in the last couple of years? And most of them were already covered with rich forms, but especially in the last like 2 or 3 years, mobile and responsive, these two keywords, they became more and more important. At the very beginning, it was always, I would say, just a check mark on their purchase list of features, but it was not really used to in the end. But now, having Teams as well and all the other tools, and we are more often probably on the way with our mobile phones and not sitting in front of our PCs, then mobile and responsive became more and more important. And as well that we are able to integrate those forms into Microsoft Teams. And with the new modern UI, Microsoft created a very, very seamless look and feel, navigation, etc. for all their products, like OneDrive, SharePoint, and in Teams, it's all the same. It looks the same. They came away from this classic ribbon that we were used from Word, Excel, the Office applications, and now they have something new, what they call the command bar. This was in the first version. It came from OneDrive, and now they they have everything look like this. So it became more important to have a seamless integration into Teams. If we would integrate, which is possible, a classic form into Teams, that would work as well, but it just looks different, and that's not too nice. And then, of course, it should be possible to create a form with logic, etc., with low code or even no code in some cases, but I will call it low code, and as well to be able to lay out with tabs, with multiple columns. So that's the main thing I would say in forms. Normally you have one column. I want to have 2, 3 columns, etc. I want to have tabs. I want to insert images, additional text, etc., etc. And as well, the business logic, the field behaviors, to calculate fields, to set default values, to show and hide fields or even complete sections in a form, to validate the field inputs, and all those things, very common requirements. The next actions, to trigger some actions from the save button or on any other button on the form. And something which was already there in InfoPath is this sublist, or what they call repeating sections. We call that a dossier, which is always this master detail relation. So in a lot of cases, you don't just fill out a form, you want to add one to many sub items or documents, etc. Especially documents. There is an option with attachments, I know, but attachments, they have some real disadvantages. So, for example, there's no real versioning on attachments, collaboration on attachments. You will not find them in the search as, let's say, an Excel file. If you add an Excel file as an attachment, you will not find it as an Excel file in a search. It's always a web page or an item because it's attached to that item, and all those things. Personally, I don't like the attachments. So one thing is to have a document library, for example, connected. So those are the main requirements we came across. Let me know if there are some really important ones missing on that. Of course, there are many more detailed requirements, but high-level requirements. If you have other ones, let us know in the Q&A section, and we can come back to them later. So, but let me give you a quick demo on our latest form product, which should cover exactly all those requirements. So what I've prepared is this expense case. What you see here is a modern SharePoint site. I have 2 lists here. And if I have a look at the list, those are just different. That's just out of the box. This is expense, and I hope it's not too slow today. The last couple of days, SharePoint was really slow. At least that's my experience. I hope it's not too slow. Let me see. So this expense list, you see that's out of the box SharePoint, and what skybow can do, we can seamless integrate into the out of the box possibilities. So like this one here, if I press new, then by default, you would see the out of the box panel. But with skybow, it just shows an skybow modern form. And in this case, what we see here is already a couple of things. We have a tab, or we have 2 tabs. They are just below, not here, but that's another way how you could structure a form. And in that tab, we have 2 columns. And we have a max of 3 columns at the moment. And those fields are already calculated. So 2020, February, my name, my manager could be in there as well, but in this environment, just for demo purposes, I did not set that as well. So just for that demo purpose, let me set myself, because otherwise I will not see the actions that we have over here. So I will just choose myself for now. Of course, that's not a real case. And what we have down here is a sub library. So in my case, I would like to upload my receipts. And now if I would have a mobile phone, if I would open that on a mobile phone, I could even use my camera. So let me go to my demo stuff here. Let me just take one document. It doesn't matter. On a mobile phone, I could take the camera, make a picture, and we have that option to directly open up the edit panel. The edit panel is just a subform. So here, this edit panel looks like out of the box, but we already added some logic. So if I choose, for example, kilometer allowance, we will see other fields down here. If I switch back to food, I just have a cost field. So let me give it a name, lunch, and euro. It just calculates the total cost. I can say if that was paid by my credit card, and that's for the finance, I would say. It was paid by myself, so save. So what you see here is we are on a new form and we can already upload documents, but this document is not yet stored. That's this little icon here. I can add additional documents, etc. And when I'm finished, I can, in this scenario, I can press save or submit directly. So those are 2 different actions. We call form actions. But before we do that, let me first show you how this could look like on a mobile. So if I switch to the mobile view here, we will see that on a mobile, we do have the tabs will collapse and expand. So, and all the fields which were before in 2 columns, they will swap down. So, and the scrolling area, the top bar is always here. So we always see the save and submit button, the cancel button, etc. And yeah, that's how it would look like on a mobile. So, and now since I already have a February, let me take something else, because otherwise I would get an error. Now this action will do a couple of things. It sets the title, and it will directly open up the display form. The display form, now we have these tabs, 2 tabs. The document is uploaded. We see that here. And yeah, it's all here. I could go ahead, add additional receipts, and we already integrated. We see different actions now. They have a visibility based on the status of that process. So we see now we have a submit button. We can always refresh if the total, because the total is calculated in the background, we can press refresh, which will only refresh the form, not the complete page, so just the form. I can generate a Word or a report based on that information here. Yeah, or when I'm ready, I can always just press submit. Now it's submitted to my manager. In this case, it's myself. And you see, because I'm the manager, if I wouldn't be the manager, I wouldn't see that approval section here. So now I have different actions. So, and those are always visible as we saw in the mobile version as well. So we have an approval section here. So I can say approve, additional information needed, decline. So I can say, let me decline that. So clicking on decline, we have another subform. It's again in a panel, and that's actually, let me show you. It's actually working very well on the mobile as well. So if I'm here, I press decline, the additional form, which should come, is just full screen again. So I can put in my command here, because, and I click save. Request is declined. It's reloaded. And here I have my process image. So now it's declined. No actions, or yeah, no other actions, just to close, refresh, and generate is still here. So I can just click outside and my process is declined. And now if we have a look at the back end of this, first of all, using our product solution studio, that's this solution here, expanses modern. So in here, we have that master detail section. And what we did is we just modified from that expense list the display, the new, the edit form, etc. And the only thing for now I want to show you is how this will work. It's really similar to a modern page, how you're used to modify modern pages. So you can add sections, 1, 2, 3 column sections. You can add fields to the form, tabs, like this. It is a tab control. Deleted it once again. We do have a rich text section or the sublibraries. And what's very, very new, which was just released last Friday, is this part over here. That's the one part which was important and missing, because before we were just able to put buttons on a form like this, a button, give it a name, and add some actions, which is really a powerful set of actions. It can be triggered one after each other if I press on that button. And but with this version, you always needed to put the button somewhere on the form, and sometimes that's okay, that's nice, but for a process, it's needed to have something on the top which is always visible, and that's the section over here. We call that form actions, and if I click on that form action, we have this new section over here. So to add a new form action, I can simply press the plus somewhere, for example here. You give this action a name. Hello folks. We have a very easy icon finder, so you can click on that icon, select icon, or you could just upload your own icon, but let me take the select icon. There are a lot of icons provided from the Fabric UI from Microsoft, so those are standard icons, and I could just say message, for example. Let me take that Skype message bubble here. I could set a visible and enable and visible expression, which is a business logic possibility. I can say, okay, this is only visible using an expression builder. This expression builder is very powerful. It can be very simple expressions, just taking some field values, for example, only visible if status is equals to, and then a value, I don't know, preparation, like this. That's already a valid condition. Or I could switch to function code and I can type in actually full JavaScript and extend the JavaScript with placeholders, etc., etc. So, but for today, I don't want to go into deep in this expression builder, but that's the way how we can put in business logic almost on every place on the form. So this is there to enable the button on a dynamic way or to make it visible. And then again, we have this configure actions. And I can say show message. That's one action type next to many others. And it's all configurable. That's what we call the low code approach. Otherwise, you would need to implement that all manually. So status message with a title. You can choose from success, warning, error, for how long, and then I will say hello folks. That's my first and easiest action, like this. And now I have hello folks somewhere in here. I can move it up or down. I can make it a sublink, in this case sublink of refresh. So if I press save, we will see that I have refresh now having hello folks as sublink. So that's the new action builder. And now I have hello folks over here. That's it. I can save it. If I now go back to my list, oops, not the new form, I'm sorry, and open that one, we have my hello folks action here on top, which will give me that success message. So very easy, very simple to configure, but this makes the modern forms much, much more powerful. Yeah. That's first demo on what you can do with skybow modern forms. And let me switch back to my slides. So maybe some of you already know rich forms, have played with rich forms, etc. If we compare rich forms to modern forms, we are almost feature parity. So there are a couple of small things I would say missing, which will be delivered pretty soon. The main thing or the main two things which you will find in this detailed comparison sheet down here as well is that you can export and import a form, a specific form, let's say from the new form to the edit form. That will come in the next couple of weeks, as well as something we call form load actions. So actions which are triggered when you open up a form. As well, this one should be delivered pretty soon. But the main improvements from rich forms to modern forms is what you just saw. It's out of the box, mobile responsive. It's it looks really nice on mobile phone as well. And one thing which we improved is we had a lot of time the requirements to have an upload file already on the new form, which was not possible within rich forms. So there you always needed to create an item first and then go to your edit form and do the upload there. Now with modern forms, you can use the upload functionality already on the new form. And something which is as well an improvement, I would say, is that we now have no double configuration on the sublists and libraries, because in rich forms, let me show you here. In rich forms, that was how the expense solution looked like on using rich forms, and there we had this sublist possibility, and in the edit mode there was this grid mode, and in the grid mode we always needed to add business logic in the subfields again. And whereas in the modern forms we always have an additional panel which is just showing the standard edit or new form from the sublist or library. This makes it much easier. Let me show you that once again in here. Let me say down here, I have this activity list, for example, and in the edit section, I can specify which list form is used for the new form, for the edit form. I mean, in this scenario, we set the command bar to hidden because the activities are automatically added by the actions, but I could show the command bar, and then I would have a new option to add a new activity. And so then what we show here is just the standard new form and edit form from the activity list. So those here. And I need to modify those anyway. So if someone just goes to the activity list and wants to add an item there, then it should be the same behavior in most cases. If not, we can create another new or edit form and specify this here. So in standard case, you just have one form for each. So we just showed the out-of-the-box new form, and that's what I'm talking about. If I would have the activities here, having a new button, now it shows the new form. So no sublist grid anymore, where there are some specialities. It's just a form. We can use everything on that form, every possibility that we have on the form itself, as well on this sub list form, I would say, because it's the same. So we configure it once, we just go here to the activities new form, modify that form, and it doesn't matter if I add a new item from the main form or from the list directly, it's always exactly the same. So that's what I mean with no double configuration. And what we saw as well is in rich forms there was a form load or a reload action, and this reload action always reloaded the complete page. And now in modern forms there is a reload action as well, but it will just reload parts of the form or of the page, the list or the form, etc. And it's a big improvement to the performance. So yes, that's the main difference. Of course, rich forms is still there. It's still getting improved because, of course, we have still SharePoint Server 2013, 2016, even 2019. So all the server installations. And if you have specific requirements where modern forms does not fit having just 3 sections, for example. So the layouting options are of course much less than if you use rich forms. Yeah, and you can use rich forms as well in a mixed mode. So you could have a modern list view like this one here. Cancel, close. So you can have a modern list like this, but if you click on new, it would open up a rich form instead of that panel. So that will work as well. So the options are there to use both. So now maybe we've raised your interest. If that's the case, then you have 2 options to start. What we just saw in the demo was Solution Studio, and here is the link to a YouTube video where you see exactly step by step how to start with Solution Studio. What I want to show you right now is our Modern Forms add-in, which is not yet released. It will be released in the next couple of weeks. It's almost finished, but I want to give you a sneak preview about it and how it will work, how you can use it, and yeah, it will be here on the website. You can just download it from there. So for now, I want to show you how you can use the Modern Forms add-in and start with that one. So let me open up. What I've prepared is I have, oops, how can I get that? I need to type it in, I guess. I have set up a demo tenant, which is a blank Office 365 environment, having some demo information in there or demo content like this. Sorry for this. I thought I could just copy and paste those things. So okay. So this demo tenant is completely it's brand new, just set up. So there's the only thing I did is I created an app catalog already, because for the add-in to use you need to have an app catalog. So just type in -admin after your tenant name, and then you get to the SharePoint admin center. And as I said, the only thing I did is I created a site collection for the app catalog. That's the one thing, and I activated the scripting possibilities in the, let me see, in the settings, I'm sorry, here in settings, classic settings page, there's one option to allow scripting, this one here, that's needed to run things like this. And I needed to do that upfront because it can take up to 24 hours to be there. So good. So what we need to do is we simply go, you see there's just a couple of demo content, my app catalog. I will go to the app catalog, apps for SharePoint. And now, when it's released, then you will be able to download this SPPKH package. So this SP package file. Skybow Modern Forms. You just simply drag and drop that file here. Then we need to trust it and say yes, deploy it. Good. And now if we go back to a site, let's take this one here, just somewhere in SharePoint. This one. And let me create another. We can go here, say add an app. It's pretty similar to how you were able to add rich forms. It's actually the same process. Now I see modern forms here. Click on that modern forms. Now it's getting added. In the meantime, I will add another list that we are able to customize. Let me take a contact list to have some columns already there, contacts. And when it's installed, it's still installing. That's why it's like it's grayed out. I hope it does not take too long. Then we will be able to see an additional button over here. It's here. Is it already finished? Let me check. Not really. So let's wait a few seconds. One thing we improved is as well is back in rich forms, you always needed to, if you downloaded the package and you installed on your site, you always needed to have a license file. So you were not able to just start with. So you needed to fill out that license request, and then we need to send you a license key, or even for the trial. And this time, having modern forms, you just download it, you install it, and it will directly issue a 14 days trial. Come on. So 14 days of trial automatically there, no file needed. Let's see if we can already start. Yes, now it's here. So we can go to the contact list. And main difference here with the add-in, we have that button. I click, close that, no. Sorry. I have that button. It will recognize if you see this. It's even 30 days. I'm sorry. It's again 30 days, not 14. So we see which form has been already customized. In this case, it's brand new, so nothing. You have the license panel over here, license information. So if we will issue a license for you, you can just put it in here afterwards. So the full license key, of course. And if I now want to start with modifying the form, I click on customize and I'm redirected to the following page, actually to the new form. And that's almost the same like what you just saw in Solution Studio. So we are here having the options to add fields, to add buttons, tabs, sublists. It's the whole sublist functionality is here as well. So if I would add the documents, for example, so that's all here as well, like this. Actions as well. It's all here. So couple of glitches needed to be fixed before we release it, and then you should be able to use that as well. So in here, it's exactly the same as in Solution Studio. So that's how you can start with the add-in. Coming back to my slides. But what's the difference? I mean, why should we use add-in? Why should we use Solution Studio? On the one hand, the benefits for Solution Studio is definitely the package and publish possibility. So so that we are able to package not just the form, as well the list, which is the underlying list, as well the columns, the content types, the forms, all the other functionality, even workflows. So SharePoint out of the box workflows, they are packaged. So it's a real engine to do full application lifecycle management. So you can work somewhere in development, create a package and deploy it to test, later on to production and all that stuff. So that's definitely something which is worth using Solution Studio. Then another thing is document generator. Document generator is an additional feature in Solution Studio, which is not part of the add-in. And all the background stuff. So we have background actions, scheduled actions, triggered actions, which can be triggered when you add a list item, edit a list item, etc. We can turn every column into a calculated column. We can aggregate and inherit metadata in the background using this background calculation. And that's all just part of Solution Studio. But on the other hand, you just saw the add-in is so simple to start with and lean to start with. So if you just want to use forms in place somewhere, but you need to take care in this case, having no real package publish functionality, you often work on an open heart, so you work in production with the add-in. You will be able, with the export import functionality, you will be able to work in development, export the form in development and import the form in production. But everything which is outside of the form, the lists, the columns and all that stuff, this is not part of the export import functionality. So just take care. It's a very simple way to start with, especially if a customer just want to have form. So it's just, we would overload or we would overwhelm it if we would start with Solution Studio. Even if you could use Solution Studio just having a forms license. So you could have a forms license in Solution Studio, so you can work with Solution Studio, but you're only allowed to use the forms possibilities, forms and actions possibilities, and that's it. So that's another option. Yes. So or if you want to use it on a server environment, 2019, for example, then you could use the add-in as well. Sometimes a customer want to have a separate add-in, just the add-in, and work with that. Solution Studio would provide a way to package a solution and deploy it to server as well. Yeah, those are the different options, but in most cases, the add-in is a good starting point, but yeah, Solution Studio provides much more, of course. So, questions, feedbacks, yeah. Sebastian, shoot.
I think I have everything answered. Oh, there's a new one. I will publish it. Can you see it, Matthias?
So,
for the revert version.
Revert to version. Yeah, that's true. That's almost feature parity. What I said. There are of course some small things which are not yet there. So like revert to version in rich forms, we had the option to of form versioning. That's not yet there in modern forms. So there's no version like this. We would have the package versions in Solution Studio, but to go back to another version, that's not yet there. That's true. Yeah, that's true. It would be risky without that to customize forms in production, but that's anyway something we would never advise to work like this. So always, if it's just a site collection, have a test system, start somewhere else. As I said, even with the add-in, the export import functionality, you could use when it's there a couple of weeks or days or weeks. So you should never work in production, always work somewhere else. Let it be tested upfront and then yeah, migrate or deploy to production. Actually, for things like this, revert to version, since there are many ideas, just post those things to our ideas section in the portal, my.skybow.com, and that's how we work as well, that you can post your ideas there, so others can vote for them, and if there are not enough votes, that gives us a higher priority in our implementation prioritization. Good. Anything else? I do not see another question. Yeah, there will be a recording available on our website, and we will send you an email when that is ready. Yeah. If you have feedbacks as well, maybe you have feedbacks regarding that live event technology we are using here for a second time. So Teams live events, do you like it, or maybe you still prefer a GoToWebinar because of some reasons? Let us know. I would be really interested in such feedbacks as well. Is it a good way to do webinars or not? What could be improved, etc. Oh, so if there's nothing left, then I would say yes. Let's call it a day and close here.
Thank you, Matthias.
Okay, thanks, Sebastian, as well, and thanks everyone for joining.
Bye, guys.
Have a nice evening. Bye.